Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. I want to start the next reading vlog for the month of March. It is the 18th today, and I surprisingly already have a reading update from, the last vlog, basically, because yesterday I read a whole book and that doesn't happen very often. I was actually trying to remember when that happened for the last time. My library just added What Moves the Dead and What Feasts at Night, and so I was the first person to snatch them up. And yesterday I read What Moves the Dead by T Kingfisher. This is a retelling of The Fall of the House of Usher, which I have read last fall because I wanted to watch the TV show that was inspired by it, but then never watched more than the first episode because I'm really bad with stuff, but whatever. So I knew the basic story, and because of that I already had a very clear picture in my mind what was going to happen in this book, and I would say it doesn't really surprise you when you have that idea, because for one, it does hit the same beats as the original story in a way. And the second thing is that if you look at the cover, you kind of know what's going on. So it isn't surprising in that regard, and I always feel like having a horror story where there is a little bit of a surprise is better. So this definitely wasn't my favorite Kingfisher book. I also wouldn't say that it was my favorite horror by her. And I think one aspect of that is that I missed the classic T Kingfisher writing, the humor. I think it was toned down quite a bit in this book, which is maybe the reason why some people enjoy this one the most, but I go to her books for her humor, let's be real. So this one was a little bit disappointing in that regard. There were a few moments with the horse, but if you've read Bryony and Roses, I think the horse humor is pretty much the same. So yeah, I liked it. I gave it 4 stars. I think if you like dark, twisty tales that you can read in an afternoon, then you should definitely check it out. I always am happy to read more Kingfisher, and I'll probably update you soon on What Feasts at Night, because I don't want to keep a checkout from the library too long if other people want to read it as well. Then for my audiobook, I'm currently listening to The Ninth Rain, and at this point right now I have 1.5 hours left, so I'm pretty sure I will finish it tonight. I have a pretty good idea what's gonna happen now. I had a theory. I'm pretty sure that my theory is correct, and so now I'm at that point where you just watch it fall apart, because oh my god, if the things happen that I expect to happen, it's gonna be quite a traumatic ending, I think. And I'm really loving it, if you can't tell. Now, I will do a whole reading vlog for the Winnowing Flame series, and I also talked about it in my previous vlog, and it's very hard to tell you what this book is about in a concise fashion. So I'm just gonna say that this is about a world where we have 2 kinds of people. We have humans and abhorrents. The abhorrents are basically a mix of elves and vampires, and they live for very, very long. They have always defeated the evil alien race that attacks this world periodically. Because they have a tree god, and that tree god gave them war beasts, so they would go into battle and defeat the alien power. But now that tree god has been killed after the last attempted invasion, and that means that the abhorrents are slowly dying, and that there's no more war beasts, and there is these weird residues where there is remains of the alien race, and we're exploring all of that with different characters that I love so much. So I'm so worried what's gonna happen to them now. But we'll see. The first book in the trilogy, I would highly recommend. It's really good. It's so good. And then you might be wondering what I will read next with my eyeballs, and that's gonna be the last book in the Southern Reach trilogy, Acceptance by Jeff Vandermeer. Then I have finished that whole series, which will be great. And yeah, that's my next project. In this series, we are following a weird stretch of land called the Area X, where something happened and it corrupted the world, basically. Everything is strange. Our rules don't apply in there. And in the first book, we follow a team of female scientists who enter this area, try to figure out what's going on. In the second book, we follow a man named Control, who tries to be the new director of the Southern Reach, which is kind of the department that is trying to make sure Area X doesn't spread and stuff like that. And in this last book, I have been told that we will get all the answers, so let's see. So it is the 19th of March. I'm already back with a super quick update because I just finished listening to The Ninth Rain by John Williams, and it was great. It was glorious, amazing, fantastic. This is, I sometimes say this, but this is what fantasy is supposed to be like for me. It's amazing. Read it. If you haven't yet, read it. Great characters, amazing world building, so fascinating, such great ideas, and definitely the mysterious elements were great. I loved it, but I'm giving it 4.5 stars for now. I might still bump it up, but there's one thing that I just... this book betrayed me. This book gaslighted me. It planted an idea in my head that I was so excited about, and then it was like, nah, we're not gonna do that. And so, I'm bitter. So, 4.5 stars, but it's really almost 5. I think for real criticism for my taste is that in the middle there was a little bit of a lull where there was a little bit too much fighting for me and a little bit too much traveling, going back and forth. There was just this added layer with Agent Lin that I thought we didn't really need. It just caused some fight scenes and some I don't know, fluff that we didn't really need. I'm intrigued to see whether this is brought up in the further books, because maybe it does serve a purpose, just not in the first book. But for the first book, we did not need all of the Agent Lin stuff at all. So that's why I'm so excited to keep reading this, and I have to wait until May for book 2. But it's fine. I do have so many reading plans, to be honest, so it's completely fine. I'm just being dramatic, but I can't wait to continue on with the series. But for now, we're switching gears completely, and we're going to read a book that is on my most anticipated list for the year. I don't do lists of that because I never know which books are coming out, but this one I knew was coming out, and I'm so excited, and that is Where Sleeping Girls Lie by Faridah Àbíké-Íyímídé. And this is the author who wrote Ace of Spades, and I loved that book. It was so good. This is a clear 5-star prediction. I have no idea what it's about. I think it is dark academia, thriller, maybe horror, centering black characters. So I will talk more about it once I got a little bit into it. But I'm just so excited. I hope it will live up to my expectations, but I'm pretty sure that it will. I trust this author. So that's it. That's the update. I'll talk to you soon. So today's the 22nd of March, and I wanted to give you a very quick update. Still, I'm not reading with my eyeballs right now. I wrote an article the last 2 weeks for work, and now we're in the editing phase. And you know, writing is something that just takes a lot out of me. It is very difficult for me to write, even though this is academic writing, so it's not about being pretty, but still it is kind of this like creative thing. And so when I get home, the last thing I want to do is pick up a book and like have more words in my brain. So that's why. But next week I'm off work, so we will definitely remedy that. But I wanted to give you a quick update on my audiobook Where Sleeping Girls Lie, because I'm now almost a third of the way into it, and so I can talk about what it is actually about a little bit more. This is a kind of, it has like dark academia feelings. Again, we are following a young girl called Sade as she enters this like very fancy British boarding school, and she has a roommate assigned to her, Elizabeth. And after the first day, Elizabeth goes missing. And yeah, this is about Sade trying to figure out what is going on while also trying to kind of fit into this new school environment. She had been homeschooled before, and it sounds like she had a very repressive father. So this is like her first time being on her own, kind of making her own rules in a way, even though obviously the boarding school does have rules, but like not as particular as the ones in her family. So we're just seeing her adapting to the new environment for this first part, but then also starting to look into this missing persons case. And yeah, I'm not quite sure how I feel about the book yet. It is quite long, so I was a bit surprised by that, to be honest. And I'm not quite sure whether this will actually pay off in the end. We'll see. But for now, the build-up is a little bit slow, so I am enjoying it, but I'm not loving it yet. And I think it will depend very much on the kind of twists and also the messages at the end. I am intrigued to see where it goes. Right now, it sits around more like a 4-star, and I had this as a 5-star prediction, so we'll see whether it can actually work its way up. But yeah, this is the main like setup thing that we have. I think this is also sapphic, and so far, like the hints we get, I'm not quite sure how we'll feel about it, but we'll see. I'll definitely keep you updated. But I just wanted to give you a quick overview of the like synopsis in a way. So yeah, last day of work before I have 2 weeks off. It's so exciting. So last day of like powering through some stuff, and then I will have like brain space again for my books. So today is the 24th of March, and I wanted to give you a quick reading update. I think I'm gonna start with my audiobook. I'm now about halfway through, and while I am enjoying it, I feel like it is a little bit too much. Like, I am enjoying it, but I feel like the plot is a little bit all over the place, and I definitely feel that it is quite a long book for what it is doing. Like, this one is almost as long as the first Winnowing Flame book, and that is like a high fantasy with like multiple POVs and stuff like that. So I think this one really should be a bit shorter. Like, I don't know. It's just meandering a little bit. We get a lot of like day-to-day stuff that happens to our character that I think isn't strictly necessary. So while this is very enjoyable, I think it will not be a 5-star read, unfortunately, just because it is taking a long time to get somewhere. And I have no idea where it is getting right now. So we'll see about that. But yeah, still liking it, but just a tiny bit of disappointment right now. I do like the way that this boarding school is depicted though. I think that it plays around with like these typical tropes with the three like mysterious girls who are like very cool but very mysterious and stuff like that, you know. It's just things we have seen before, and it's definitely playing with these tropes. Also, some disgusting male characters there. Like, some are great, but some are like so creepy. So yeah, I'm intrigued to see where it goes, and I'll definitely keep you updated. And then I read Acceptance last night. I read the first half of this book, and since I'm doing the reading vlog for the whole series, I'm not gonna talk a bunch about it here, but I think this might be my favorite book of this series. I'm very excited to read the rest today. Hopefully I can finish it, but it's really good. I really like what this last book is doing, and yeah, it's so exciting to read the final book. And then since I will go take a bath later today and I don't want to take this big hardcover book with me, I think I will start my next read. And I have decided that it will be this one. I think the English version is called Matters of Choice by Noah Gordon. This is the third book kind of in this series because we are following a family through the generations. Like, the first one is literally during the Middle Ages, and then the second one is set in America, and this one as well, and I think this one is set in the like 80s or 90s. And this is also a book I'm gonna be reading for a different vlog, so it will fulfill multiple things for me. First of all, I'm making progress with that reading vlog I started last year. Second of all, this is a book I borrowed from my mom years and years ago, and it is time to finally give it back to her. So I think this is what I want to do next. It looks tiny. It is still 400 pages, so we'll see how fast I can be with that. But yeah, that's the book I chose next to start later tonight. I don't really know what this one is about, apart from it's about doctors, so I'll update you once I'm a little bit further into it. But again, I'm reading this for a reading vlog, so minimal updates here. So that's it for now, and I'll talk to you when something interesting happens. So today's the 25th, and yesterday I did finish Acceptance, and with that the Southern Reach trilogy. I really enjoyed this last book of the series. I actually liked it the most out of all of them. I decided to give it 4.5 stars, and with that we will also conclude this series of vlogs, so you can be on the lookout for that. Yeah, I'm very excited. I really had a great time with this. And then yesterday I also started reading Matters of Choice, and the first 50 pages of this were definitely more than I bargained for. We get into this story straight away with dealing with the theme of abortion. Now, this was written in the 90s, so knowing how this has developed now in the US and how much worse it has gotten, this was definitely triggering to read for me. Not a pleasant experience, but I think the themes will change a little bit now. But yeah, definitely bumpy start with that one. But not because it is bad, just because it was a topic that I was not prepared for when I started the book. So I will read more of Matters of Choice today. We'll see how far I can get. And it's just so nice to have a little bit of time off, to be honest. It's so nice. So it is the 26th of March. Today I went into town. I did a very booktuber thing and sat in a cafe and read my book, which was great. I live in a city where there's a lot of tourism, so getting a spot in this cafe is super rare. Like, I have tried so many times and I've only achieved it twice in 1.5 years, I want to say. So yeah, that was great. Then I also went into a bookstore and I bought a book, and I went into the library and I borrowed 2 books. So definitely not a great day for my TBR reduction plans, but I'll show you that clip in a second. So I went into town and I do have a little haul. I bought myself a copy of Sunbringer. Now, do I have a hold on this in the library? Yes, I do, but I was worried because I got the big paperback that if I wouldn't get it now, I wouldn't be able to have an edition that matches the first book. So I got it and I don't regret anything. And then I also went to the library, and this first book is all because of Jess. Jess, it's your fault. And that is A Song of Wraith and Ruin. As far as I could see, they only have the first book, but yeah, I'm gonna give it a try. And then lastly, I have a book that I want to read for a reading vlog, and that is Tangerine. I had that checked out last year, but then I didn't get around to it, so giving it another try. Did I need more books? No, I really didn't. But here we are.
One last time. So the bookstore is in San Antonio, and it is called the Antiquarian.
What helps with my TBR reduction is that I finished reading Matters of Choice by Noah Gordon, the 3rd book in this trilogy about the Cole Doctor family. In the end, I gave it 3.5 stars. There will be a reading vlog where I talk more about this, but I don't know how long it will be before this one is finished. So let me just say that this was an interesting read. I'm not mad that I read it, but I also wouldn't necessarily recommend it because it is dated, and it also has the issues of a white male author writing a woman. And yeah, and the plot just wasn't that interesting, to be honest. It really wasn't, but it makes a few good points in political aspects, so I liked it for that. And it's done, it's finished. And so I'm doing a little bit of a different project now. I decided for my little vacation, I wanted to do a vlog where I read a book that my cat selected. If everything goes well, you will already have seen this vlog. It is already uploaded. And what I'll be reading for that, the book that my wise cat has chosen for me, is Gingerbread by Helen Oyeyemi. So this one I'm gonna start next. I'm very intrigued. I'm now also 2/3 of the way through my audiobook, Where Sleeping Girls Lie. And it's finally, it's getting there. I have read 2/3 of a book, and those 2/3 should have been 1/3. I think the beginning is too slow, way too slow for me. But now we are where I wanted to get in the first place, so I hope that the remaining couple of hours will be amazing now. But yeah, it's just a bit sad that it took so long to get there. And I don't think that we needed that much time. Like, it's always great to get to know the characters more, but it was a bit too much for me. So we'll see. I will let you know once I've finished that one, and probably also once I finish Gingerbread, even though I will talk about that in that other vlog, so I don't want to bore you here with it. So today's the 28th of March and I wanted to give you a quick update. I just finished reading Gingerbread by Helen Oyeyemi. As I said, there will be a reading vlog about this book, but I really enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars and it was definitely an interesting one that, yeah, just was the way I kind of expected it to be. Maybe even a little bit more easy to understand than I expected this to be, but yeah, I liked it. I'm glad that I got to read it, and we'll see what comes next. But I will be traveling for the rest of the month. So tomorrow I will leave to go see my family, and I'll come back on Sunday, which is the last day of March. And I am struggling a little bit because I do have one book check out from the library, and that is What Feasts at Night by T Kingfisher. This is the second book in this novella series, the Sworn Soldier series. But that one is very short, and I will have a long or 2 long train rides for the rest of the month. And so I think that won't be enough. So I'm kind of struggling with the question of what book to bring. In addition to that, I thought about getting another book from the library that is short because on Monday we'll start the magical readathon. So I don't want to have a book kind of carried over into April. I want to be able to start my TBR on Monday, but I guess that won't happen. We'll see. But yeah, I'll try to show you some parts of my trip. We'll see how that goes. And then I'll be back for the final update, I guess. So today is the 1st of April and it is time to finish off this vlog. Unfortunately, I got a migraine while I was at my family's place and it still hasn't gone, so I don't look the cutest, I don't feel my best right now. But when I arrived at my family's place, my stepfather got really sick that evening. And then yesterday when I left, my mom got sick as well. So right now I have this like really weird thing where I'm like, maybe I will be really sick tomorrow, but also I have a migraine today. So I don't know what the best course of action is here. I really hope that I won't get sick, but you never know. But yeah, I do have some reading updates on my train ride. I read What Feasts at Night by T Kingfisher, the second book in the Sworn Soldier series, and this is a little novella where we're following Alex, who is who was a soldier and now just lives their lives. But they had this like encounter with something weird and dangerous in the first book, and in the second book we have a different weird, scary encounter. This one is drenched more in mythology, which I really enjoyed. The first book is a retelling of the fall of the House of Usher, and because of that, I found the plot to be a little bit predictable. But this one is more of its own story, which I really enjoyed. I liked it a little bit more than the first book because of that. And I still gave it 4 stars. I was very much entertained by it. It also had a little bit more of T Kingfisher's humor, which I missed in the first book. So I think overall the second book was a little bit more successful, but I really enjoyed both. So I would definitely recommend this this series if you are interested in these like horror novellas. So really enjoyed that. And then I not quite done with my audiobook. I have an hour left in Where Sleeping Girls Lie, and this one, unfortunately, even though we're like in the reveals part now, the pacing is not done well, unfortunately. So this is a bit of a disappointment because I thought this would be a 5-star read for me again, but it is too long. The beginning just took way too long to like get to the exciting parts, and there is a lot of backstory that we now get in like very long chapters where our characters are telling us things that happened in the past, and that should have been done much sooner and maybe sprinkled in more. The like secrets we have with our main character were also very obvious, so you can piece it together quite easily, and then it takes forever to get the full story of what happened there. And now we also get kind of a flashback of what happened to the missing roommate, where we learn all of her story. And yeah, I just feel like the pacing is way off with this book, and it's really sad because I like the story, but just the way it is told does not work for me, unfortunately. And then I got a book for Easter, and I started it during my train ride yesterday, and that is Spell of Good Things by Ayobami Adebayo. This was one of my most anticipated books of last year, but then I got so scared because I loved Stay With Me by the author, and I was like, what if I don't love this book? It's gonna be such a disappointment. But we'll see. I started it on the train. I'm a little bit more than 60 pages in right now, but I won't talk about it here. I will talk about it in the April vlog just to save some time. And in this one, we're following 2 POVs. One person who lives in poverty, a young boy, and then another POV is a young woman who works as a doctor. And we'll see where that goes. I'm definitely intrigued to keep reading this. And I think that's it. My train ride yesterday was also a mess. They had to stop the train for 10 minutes because all the toilets were broken and some people needed to go. And so they stopped the train at one of the stations and were like, yeah, you can go to the toilets in the station. Then those people came back and they were like, yeah, the station toilets were also all broken. So they had to go somewhere in the field, I guess. Because of that, I obviously missed my connecting train and then had to do like this whole detour to get home, but it was alright. But since I had a migraine, I also read even slower. I'm usually a slow reader, but I read even slower, so I only got the 60 pages in. So yeah, that's it, I think, for this vlog. I hope you enjoyed it. Leave a like or a nice comment. I would really appreciate it. I'm really scared that my week of vacation that I now have will be ruined by sickness. Let's keep our fingers crossed that doesn't happen. I'll talk to you very soon. Bye!